What's up, everybody? Let some of y'all join, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, guys? Got the Braves game on behind me from earlier, a little replay. Baseball's back, fellas. Baseball is back. Y'all go ahead and join in. Let me know what y'all want to talk about. Leave your comments down below. If you haven't liked the page, guys, don't forget to like the page, and let's do it. Y'all know what the deal is. There we go. Let's do it. What up, B? We in here. What you think the Braves record's going to be? I want to hear it. Let's go. Braves record predictions tonight. Closest at the end of the season, I get you a t-shirt. Everybody loves t-shirts. Let's go. Like I should.
Some days you wake up and nothing works, you feel surrounded. Gotta give your feet some gravity to get you grounded. Keep good things inside your ears just like the waves and sounding.
Hey, if you join in, guys, let me know you're here. And we'll get started here in just a second. Let a couple more people join. Alright, guys. Alright, so we're going to get started here in just a few moments, alright? Kicking It with Crowder starts in 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Kicking It with Crowder. DJ Khaled, another one, alright? Episode 45, guys. Baseball is back. Doubleheader action as the New York Yankees take on the defending World Series champions, the Washington Nationals, guys, followed by, got an ESPN doubleheader tomorrow night. Been waiting for this the entire year. Finally, we're going to get some baseball. And then that's followed up by the San Francisco Giants taking on the LA Dodgers. So, a lot to get into tonight as I give you some of my best bets to look out for tonight. I'm going to give you a nice little three-team multi-sport parlay to look out for tomorrow, Thursday, the 23rd tomorrow? Okay, so I'm going to give you a little multi-sport three-team parlay, guys. All three teams got to hit. I'm going to give you what number to bet on and what you may win if you do take these teams. All right. Also, last night the Atlanta Braves take down the Florida Marlins. They're down 8-1 in the 8th inning. They end up winning 10-9 on a walk-off Matt Adams home run, who had literally just signed with the Atlanta Braves earlier that day or the day before. So Braves baseball, guys, it is almost here, folks. I can literally hear the glove popping. I can hear the bats. The wood bats hitting that leather ball. It is a good time to be a baseball fan, guys. So more baseball later on in the show. I give you some teams to look out for and some Cy Young and NL MVP, AL MVP picks as well. All right, guys. So the NBA bubble seems to be working. 0 positive tests this week. 0 positive tests out of like 360 players. So good news for the NBA. The NBA bubble seems to be working. Good news out of Orlando. The NBA is set to return later this week. So exciting stuff. LA Lakers, Clippers, Houston Rockets, Toronto Raptors, 76ers, Boston Celtics fans. All these teams, guys, we got 8 games coming back up, and then we'll go ahead and start the NBA postseason. So stay tuned for the latest news with the NBA bubble. Also, the NFL and college football are set to just be about 50 days away. NFL is 50 days away. College football is even less than that. So NFL is probably going to cancel the 2020 preseason. They've already had meetings. They've already had some things come up with this. So looks like there will be no preseason action going on. And also they will lower the roster from 90 to 80 players. So the COVID is going to affect them a little bit. A lot of practices are going to be a lot tougher this year. Undrafted free agents are really going to have to show their worth in practice and show what they got, going up against their same team every day for about 2 months or so. But a lot to NFL looks like it's going to happen. But we'll get into what the NFL came out today, what the Atlanta Falcons said today, how many fans will be in the stands. A lot of change coming this fall, but it looks like there will be football after all. Definitely in the NFL and most likely college football, unless something happens and there's an unforeseen change come up in the next few weeks. So an exciting show tonight, guys. I just want to thank everyone for joining. Really want to thank everyone for joining along tonight on the live. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to like, and do not forget to share down below. As always, you can find me on Spotify. I'm also on the Apple, the iHeartRadio app, and as well as YouTube and on Twitter, guys. If you like good content on Twitter, at Kick It With Crow. You can find me on Twitter, guys. But besides that, let's go ahead and get into tonight's episode, all right? I'm going to turn this TV off because there's a little glare real quick, and we'll get started. All right, guys, so no more glare, and MLB, like I said, returns tomorrow night. So it's been, long wait. There's been some spring training games going on the last few days, like a little MLB camp. But tomorrow night, the Los Angeles Dodgers and Clayton Kershaw take on Johnny Cueto and the San Francisco Giants at the nightcap at 10 o'clock. And then I think at 7 or 8 o'clock, the New York Yankees and Garrett Cole, with the expensive right arm of his, take on the Washington Nationals and Max Scherzer and the defending champions. So very exciting stuff right there. The Yankees, guys, I'm going to go ahead and give you, put your money tomorrow night on the Yankees. I've seen them in the last few days in these spring training games. Aaron Judge is just tearing the ball off the leather right now. They have a dangerous lineup. Aaron Boone, look for him to be contending for AL Manager of the Year, maybe Major League Baseball Manager of the Year. Minus 136 tomorrow. So I'm going to parlay that minus 136 with the Dodgers at minus 142, who basically have to beat the San Francisco Giants for them to cover the spread. It's going to be minus 1.5. They have to beat them. They have to beat them by more than one run. So the money really wasn't there on the straight up bet, but I think ready this year, and I think that Dave Roberts and the squad is going to have them ready to go. I have them at minus 142, but they have to win by more than one run. So far, I have the Yankees at minus 136 straight up against the Nationals, who are plus money coming off the defending World Series champions. But I like the Yankees, man. They're loaded this year. And then also minus 142 with the Dodgers. I've gone ahead and put $50 on them. You'll win $97.86 if you put $50 on the Yankees and the Dodgers to win by more than one run tomorrow night. Okay? If you want to get a little risky and bet a little bit less money and put another team tomorrow night, Juventus is playing tomorrow at 3:45 in Serie A, coming out of Italy. I'm going to say that Juventus is going to win at minus 197. So you put those three teams on a parlay, $20 will win you $70. So that is my best bet of tomorrow night. You're going to put Juventus in the day cap, and then followed by the Yankees and the Dodgers. So we got a little multi-sport bet going on right there. $20 will win you $69. If you just want to stick to baseball, $50 will win you $97. $100 if you put a $100 bet on the Yankees and the Dodgers winning by more than one run tomorrow, $195. So some pretty good odds right there. I really like those teams to compete and win tomorrow night. So there's a little bit of free action for you to take on tomorrow. Send it to your bookie, send it to however your bet making sports bet today. But those games will be on tomorrow night. So we have baseball back finally. And with that, I'm going to pick my MVP for the AL and the NL tonight. I'm going to go with Aaron Judge. Like I said, he's been crushing the ball. Coming off an oblique strain, he seems to be perfectly healthy. Try to return to his rookie year 2018 season. I really think Aaron Judge could smack about 25, 30 home runs if he gets hot. That's a home run every other at bat. So I really think Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees are going to be the team to beat in the AL. But also look out for the Tampa Bay Rays coming out of the same division. Could threaten the Yankees for that top spot and possibly sneak in as a wild card team. So I got Aaron Judge as my MVP. I also have Acuna Jr. coming in from the Atlanta Braves. I got him as my NL MVP, man. It's his third season, coming almost a 40-40 campaign last year. Got hurt and did not get to stolen bases. Hit 41 home runs, 37 stolen bases. The guy is his third year. He's only going to get better with time. I think he's one of the best players in all of baseball. Also, look out for Cody Bellinger or Mookie Betts for the Dodgers. But those three guys, any one of them would be a great bet for the season. And then the AL Cy Young, I've heard a lot of different things about this. A lot of money's on Garrett Cole, to lead the league in strikeouts and then possibly win the AL Cy Young and prove that money was worth it. Also, you got Luis Giolito from the... What's up, Dan? You got him from the Chicago White Sox. He came in 6th last year in the AL Cy Young. Look for him to possibly make a next step and be a potential dark horse in the AL Cy Young. And then with the NL, man, you got some great pitchers coming out of the NL. But, Jack Flaherty really reminds me of like a hard, he's a very hard thrower. He reminds me a little bit of Earl Hershiser when he first came in with the Dodgers. He's 24 years old, won, 16, 17 games last year for the Cardinals. Didn't lose the second half of the season. Really pitched well against the Atlanta Braves in the division series. He is my pick for NL Cy Young. So I got AL Cy Young, NL Cy Young MVP, and NL and AL MVP coming up soon. So Acuna, Judge, Garrett Cole, and then Jack Flaherty on the those are my guys to win the picks this year coming up. And also today in Major League Baseball, you had Mookie Betts, a guy who was traded over from the Red Sox to the Dodgers. Dodgers looked like they may just lose him for nothing, just go ahead and him not re-sign. But Mookie Betts signs a 13-year, $380 million deal with the Los Angeles Dodgers to stay in LA. So big news coming out before the season starts. Mookie Betts can now go out there in these 60 games and really ball out. I'm looking forward to seeing Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger in the same outfield. So the Braves, they do play this Friday. And, Mike Soroka will have the ball. You could look for a lineup with Acuna Jr., Ozzie Albies, Freddie Freeman at 1, 2, 3. You got probably Azuña at coming in playing DH or left field, hitting 4th. You got Travis Denard coming in at 5th, probably playing catcher. And then you could see anywhere 6, 7, and 8, and 9 as well this year because there is a DH. So you could see anywhere from Austin Riley hitting 6th or Adam Duvall hitting 6th, and then going to maybe a Dansby Swanson at 7. And then also you have Ender Encarnacion coming in. He'll probably hit 9th, and then 8th. The 8th spot in the lineup belongs to either Camargo or it could go either way right here. So look for my lineup that I have. The starting lineup for Friday. Mike Soroka is going to take the mound. Look for Will Smith and closer from the San Francisco Giants to maybe close it out. And then also you're going to have Acuna Jr., Albies, Freddie Freeman, 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to have Azuña. I'm going to put him in left field, batting 4th. And then Travis Denard coming in at 5th. 6th, I'm going to put Adam Duvall at DH. 7th, Dansby Swanson. 8th, Camargo at 3rd base. And then at 9, and the 9-hole Ender Encarciarte. So that's my lineup for Friday night. If anything changes, you could see Austin Riley maybe playing third instead of Camargo, maybe moving up a little bit in the lineup. I saw him hit a home run today. But look for that lineup to compete and win 35 games. That's my projection. 35 games for the Atlanta Braves. They're plus 1,300. Plus 1,500 on the odds for the World Series. I went ahead and put 20 on them to win 280. So I like the Atlanta Braves' chances this season. But really, really exciting stuff coming out of Major League Baseball. The wait is no more. We'll have back-to-back games on Thursday, followed up by a bunch of teams playing on Friday. And the Blue Jays, guys, had a deal lined up with the Pittsburgh Pirates to go ahead and play their home games there. The city of Pittsburgh has actually declined that offer, and Toronto Blue Jays will now not play in Pittsburgh. Possibly could play in Buffalo or could play down their home spring training down in Dundon, Florida. But tough news coming out of Toronto Blue Jays. Not only does the country not want them, the Pittsburgh area doesn't want them, and the Blue Jays really don't have a home right now for the season. So look for Baltimore possibly to be a landing spot. Buffalo, spring training down in Florida. One of those three teams or places could host the Blue Jays this upcoming season. So we're going to move on to baseball. I'm sorry, we've been talking about baseball. We're going to move on to the NBA. And the NBA, guys, the bubble is working as much as people do not like to say it. The bubble down in Disney, it is actually working because this week they're actually tested and 0 positive tests inside the bubble this week with all NBA personnel and players. So, shout out to Adam Silver for getting this plan together. And a lot of people were skeptical of the move, but the NBA bubble seems to be working. And 0 positive tests this week, that could possibly change. But you got stars as James Harden, Russell Westbrook. You got some other guys returning to their teams this week, going to be ready right on time for the NBA season. And then you got guys that are having to have family emergencies who are having to leave the bubble. And one of the biggest teams that are going to be affected by this is the New Orleans Pelicans and Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson is already one of the few young faces of the NBA. And Zion Williamson had to leave for a little family. He had a little family ordeal, so he is outside the bubble. When he returns, he will have to quarantine for 10 days. Not only do the Pelicans open up the restart, they open it up on, I think, July 30th. They're set to play. They will probably be without Zion Williamson. And how many games does Zion miss? If he misses half the games, the Pelicans are 3.5 games behind the 8th seed in the West. So I really like the Pelicans, especially a lot more with Zion Williamson. But if he's not there, guys, it's going to be tough sledding for them. They do have Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday, these guys who have competed all season, and they're just behind the Grizzlies in the playoff spot. You also have Dame Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers who could possibly sneak in to the 8th seed as well with Carmelo Anthony, CJ McCollum, and Damian Lillard. So Zion Williamson is not the only star that's out. They've had 3 or 4 players leave for family emergencies, and then you've had a couple, like 2 players kind of go outside the bubble on accident. One ordering food and the other just, forgot, where he was and went outside the bubble. So Montrezl Harrell and Pat Beverly are both missing right now for the Los Angeles Clippers. You had Joakim Noah today start their little preseason expedition game. Joakim Noah. We're not talking about Joakim Noah from the Chicago Bulls. This is, 7 years later. He's playing for the Los Angeles Clippers. Hasn't really had much time all season, but he started today at center for the Clippers. So I think that the rest is definitely going to help a team like the Los Angeles Clippers with Kawhi Leonard, Paul George now resting and healthy. And when they played with Pat Beverly, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, they haven't lost very many games this year, guys. So look for them to compete with the Los Angeles Lakers, Houston Rockets for the title in the West. But, they're without right now Montrezl Harrell and Pat Beverly. They expect them back, but those are 2 key cogs in their machine who will be, needed come the second, third, and possibly the NBA Finals. So those 2 guys, Montrezl Harrell, Pat Beverly, Zion Williamson, keep them in mind right now as they're dealing with some personal family issues, but really want to see those guys back in the NBA bubble. All right, so we'll move on to the NFL, and today got some news, got some clarity for all NFL teams. The NFL is going to mandate, basically, if the city or the state regulates that they can have fans. So there's a couple teams right now that said they will not have fans in the stands. The Philadelphia Eagles will not have fans. The New York Giants and the New York Jets this year will not have fans. So those teams will just not have fans. They will not have any fans in the stadium. But I will say the Atlanta Falcons came out today and said that they are going to allow 10 to 20,000 fans in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium this year. So, 10 to 20,000 is kind of what I expected. I expected around 25,000 fans being allowed to be in the stadium. Maybe going to be a little bit less than that at 20,000. But what they're going to do is season ticket holders are going to be the first ones to get the tickets. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to fill out a survey for the first 4 games and tell them which games you want to go to. They'll have a little lottery. You may or may not be selected to go and to these games. If you're not selected, basically your tickets will roll over to next season, and there's a freeze on the prices for next season as well. The prices will not go up for the season ticket holders. But, or you could just, say, hey, I want a refund, and they'll give you a refund on everything except for the personal seat license. Okay? So you got 3 options, but there will be some fans in Atlanta this year, which is good because just a little bit of fans will be a bigger home field advantage than some of these other teams if you visit New York or Philadelphia. I know the Jacksonville Jaguars said they're going to have 25%, Baltimore Ravens 25%, and then also the Atlanta Falcons are going to have fans in the stadium. But you're going to be required to wear a mask. That is the big kicker. If you do not want to wear a mask, guys, do not try to go in the stadium. If you do want to go to games, I don't think slipping on a little mask is that big of a deal. So all NFL stadiums, if you have fans this year, you will be required to wear a mask. So Falcons, good news coming out of Atlanta today. 10 to 20,000 fans will be able to attend the games. But also the preseason games, guys. NFL has kind of voted this year to go against preseason games. So just for this year, not for the future, but right now, there will be no preseason games, which really, really affects guys, 6th, 7th round draft picks, guys who are undrafted free agents trying to make the roster, guys who, perform on special teams in these preseason games, guys who are maybe the 5th or 6th wide receiver, 3rd or 4th tight end, maybe the third or fourth string tackle. I mean, guys who are going to contribute a little bit on special teams and like that, those guys are really going to be affected by this, and you're going to have to show up in practice. Practice is going to be a lot more physical this upcoming season coming in Atlanta. So Flowery Branch, all the training camps will begin this next week, and you will not see fans at the training camps as well. So I'm sure media will be allowed. You'll be able to see some snippets here and there, but for the most part, guys, training camps and the games are going to look a lot different. But I don't really care how different it looks. Just play the games. I can't imagine not having an NFL season and then also a college season. Get the games played, do whatever you have to do, and the NFL is taking the right measurements. They should have probably already had a plan in place, but they didn't. But they are working very, very aggressively right now to get a plan to have fans and to have a 2020 season. So no preseason games right now, guys, for 2020. Also, the rosters will go from 90 to 80 to begin training camp. So some of those players that were undrafted free agents aren't even going to be able to make it to camp. And then you'll also see rosters probably expanded from 45 to maybe the old number 53, and the other 8 spots going to the practice squad. You could see guys maybe 55 to 57 players on each roster this year, just to be careful with quarantining and if a player does get sick and stuff like that. So training camp starts very soon for the NFL, and we are just 50 days away. Unbelievable, guys. We're 50 days away. We've been dealing with this stuff for about 5 months, and we are very, very close to the start of the NFL. And also coming out of the NFL today, Jets owner is accused of racial and sexist comments, and this is when he was the ambassador for the I think the UK or something like that. He was basically an ambassador and was caught on tape or caught doing something, and racial and sexist comments were made. Players are very angry, especially Jamal Adams, saying that the New York Jets need a change. And their owner, he hasn't been around the last 3 or 4 years. He's been doing this ambassador stuff. He is just getting ready to be now the owner and get his responsibilities back. But you could possibly see a Jerry Richardson situation with the Panthers, where he had to sell the team. You could look for him. I think Woody Johnson's his name. You could look for the Jets owner to possibly sell the franchise. You got to watch out for what you say and be smart about what you say these days, guys, because everything is on the table. If you said something, it's going to come to light, it seems like, and Jets owner is definitely facing that. So that's something to watch out for in the NFL. So, guys, my last little thing right here, I've already gave you some parlays to look out for tomorrow. If you missed that parlay, take the Dodgers minus 1.5, meaning they got to win by 2 at minus 142. Take the Yankees straight up against the Nationals, minus 136. And take Juventus, Cristiano Ronaldo. Take those boys tomorrow night. They're the number 1 team in Serie A out of Italy. Take them versus a top, I think they're a top 15 squad, but they're not near as good as Juventus. Take them minus 197. Put those 3 teams on a $20 parlay and win you $70 tomorrow, guys. So if you're just joining in, we're going to talk about college athletics. I know, right? I'll buy them too, CK. I would too, man. But, all right, guys, so college athletics, and this is the last topic we're going to dive into a little bit today. We're going to talk about Phil Steele's top 25 here at the very end. He did his preseason rankings. Phil Steele is a really, really good guy. Makes a great little magazine for the season. Puts his top 25 teams, a whole breakdown of all the teams this coming season. So we'll dive into that here in just a second. But you could see some in-state rivalries being played that, with the Pac-12 and then with the Big Ten canceling out-of-conference games this year. We're still waiting word from the Big 12, the SEC, and the ACC. We're waiting for those teams to be to announce what's going to happen, those conferences. But, you look for, a team like UGA, who has played Georgia Tech since like 1890 or something like that. They've played every year except for 1 year in the last 100 years. That game needs to be played. It really does to me. They're only 50, 70 miles away from the Athens and in Atlanta with the Georgia Tech athletic program. So here's what I'm saying. You got to make that game happen. If you make it happen at the beginning of the season, if you make it happen at the end of the season, you need to make that game happen. Because UGA has Missouri on the schedule. Missouri is 700 miles away from Athens, when Georgia Tech is only 60 miles away. That game has to happen this year. Games like Florida State, Florida, those type of games, these SEC versus ACC matchups, they need to happen this year. And you got the Chick-fil-A kickoff coming out and saying that they want all 3 games to happen this year. And what that is, guys, they want to play all 3 games, and they're going to have altered seats, so it's not going to be near as capacity as it is. But the Chick-fil-A kickoff games scheduled for September 5th, September 7th, and September 12th. Chick-fil-A is saying that those are going to happen. The Alabama-USC game has already been canceled, but right now Florida State's set to play West Virginia, and I think Louisville's set to play NC State or something like that, so that's an in-conference game. Look for some of these games to happen so far. Notre Dame's been mentioned as a team to play. Alabama, also I've heard Texas or Oklahoma could possibly play Alabama to begin the season. I look for Florida State to take on a West Virginia team as long as the SEC and ACC and the Big 12 are allowed to play. Look for those 2 teams to kick it off, or possibly a replacement game would be Florida versus Florida State to open the season. So what a game that would be to open up the season. But look for some of these in-state rivalry games who we thought that may not happen. Guys, they could happen. Clemson, South Carolina, UGA, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Florida. Look for these games to possibly happen right now. They're not canceled yet. And also, the NCAA Football Oversight Board has asked for more time on fall sports right now. So they're asking for more time. They need a little bit more time under the belt to decide what's going on, kind of with this second wave of the coronavirus, COVID-19 kind of hitting these cities. I know Florida, Georgia, some other states have been really affected by this second wave. And once, we were shut down in March and April, and then now it's kind of made a wave, and it's actually worse than it was the first time. So just a lot going on right now in the world, in the sports world. But, teams like soccer teams, in England and Italy and Spain and all this, they have played without fans in the stands, and they've made it work. The testing's been great. The NBA bubble has been working. Also, UFC and Dana White, they have been successful. So you got these teams and these sports coming back. And then NASCAR last week has a 20,000 fan limit at their race. So you got 20,000 fans at the race last week at the All-Star race. So that is good news. That's good news that you're going to have this amount of people going to these type of stadiums and being healthy. And, I've been saying it for a while now. It's just another version of the flu. I mean, that's basically what it is. I'm not trying to, mince my words or anything like that, but, it's got a 99% survival rate. There's a lot of people who are, not being able to beat the disease that are a lot older. And, as sad as that is, it's just, it's people are going to get it. People are going to be affected. And I pray for all those families. And I do not want anyone to lose a family member from this. But guys, it's just something we have to battle and take on and kind of see where we are in America. Virtual learning and all that, I think kids need to be in school. I think games need to be played. That's just my point of view. If you disagree with me, guys, I completely understand why you would. But at the same time, I think college football, college athletics, school, all this, guys, needs to happen in the fall. And we are on the right track right now to make that happen. So some other news coming out of the NCAA today. Georgia Bulldogs lost out on safety recruit James Williams, who chose Miami over UGA today. The big 6'4" safety was heavily leaning towards UGA, but he's a Florida guy, and he ended up deciding to stay with Miami over UGA. So a big loss today for UGA recruiting. I've already talked about the Chick-fil-A games that could happen, guys. Look for those games to happen on September 5th, September 7th, and September 12th, okay? And what we're going to do is my last little segment right here, guys. And thank you guys so much for joining tonight. If you do not already, follow my page, like my page, Kicking It with Crowder on Facebook. I'm also on YouTube, Kicking It with Crowder. I'm also on Twitter, at Kick It with Crow. And, of course, you can always find my post edits with my intro and everything on Spotify, the Apple Podcast, and the iHeartRadio app, guys. So it's a very good listen. Please take some time to listen, maybe on your commute home from work. Maybe send it to one of your buddies who like sports a lot. Kind of get this thing spread out, and let's keep it going, guys. Episode 45. We've almost been doing this an entire year, and Season 2 will kick off very, very soon, guys, and I'm very, very excited for that. So Phil Steele releases his little top 25 preseason magazine every year, and I wanted to dive into the top 10 teams and some teams that maybe I think he had rated a little bit too low or maybe a little bit too high. And we're going to begin with coming out of Columbus, Ohio, and Phil Steele has the Ohio State Buckeyes at number 1 with Justin Fields and Ryan Day, and they keep putting all these defensive guys in the NFL as well. Chase Young, Bosa. I mean, they put some guys in the league the last 2 years. Some cornerbacks, Lattimore, Jeff Okudah. I mean, those are 4 guys who were all drafted in the top 10, top 12 players. And Ohio State just kind of rebuilds a little bit, guys. And but I can't really put them above the number 2 team because Ohio State's never beat this program, and it's kind of crazy to me. Ohio State, guys, has never beat Clemson. And Clemson comes in as my number 2 team. I would have Clemson just ahead of Ohio State at 1-2 I agree with the top 3 teams. I just don't agree with the order. So I'd have Clemson over Ohio State, but Clemson comes in at number 2 with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne and Xavier Thomas, a bunch of these guys on the defensive line. They kind of rebuilt that defensive line, and then look for the offense this year. Trevor Lawrence, who just got engaged, by the way. Congratulations, young man. I think you're getting engaged a little early, but hey, man, you do you. You do you. You're about to be a millionaire. You know what you're doing. So congratulations to you and your fiance, Trevor. But Trevor Lawrence and the Clemson Tigers, Dabo Swinney comes in at number 2. And then they are followed by, in Phil Steele's top 25 rankings for the 2020 season, they are followed by Alabama and the Crimson Tide. And look for, if there is no out-of-conference games this year, look for Georgia and Alabama to open up the season in Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. And boy, I'll tell you what, I'm getting excited just talking about it. That is going to be a hell of a game, and I cannot wait until that happens. I've really had some disagreements with Phil Steele right here. Oklahoma, I get it. They're coming at number 4. That's a great team. Spencer Rattler, look for him to, compete for a Heisman Trophy. That's what all the quarterbacks do that come up from Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. Also, Jalen Hurts last year was in the top 3. And then look for Spencer Rattler, the number 1 dual threat guy coming out of the class of 2019. He redshirted last year, so he is going to be a redshirt freshman. And Spencer Rattler, guys, number 7 for Oklahoma. I'm telling you right now, the guy can spin it. Athletic guy, can make some plays outside the pocket. Really reminds me of a little bit of a, maybe a little bit of a Justin Fields, Russell Wilson type guy. You heard it here first. All right. And then Phil Steele. Now, here's where I disagree with him a lot, okay? He's got Texas A&M at number 5, and I'm sorry, guys. I just don't see it. I understand Jimbo Fisher. This is his 3rd season coming out of Texas A&M, and in his 3rd season, what did he do with the FSU Seminoles? He won. He got him to an Orange Bowl. In his 4th year, he won a national championship. So I really think that Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M is rated a little high on this list. I would not have them. I'd actually have them right outside the top 10. I'd have them at 12, 13, somewhere around that ranking. Phil still knows something I don't, and he has them at number 5. Coming in at number 6, another SEC West program, LSU, coming off a national championship. They do lose a lot of first-round picks. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jefferson, also the number 1 pick in Joe Burrow. Also lose some draft picks on defense. But LSU, guys, has been recruiting for a couple years, and I really think that they are going to just reload this year. Miles Brennan is probably going to be their number 1 quarterback. I've heard a lot of talk, Coach Orgeron, saying, hey, it's Miles Brennan's time. He's put in the work the last few years. I think he's going to be a redshirt sophomore or either a junior coming in this season. They also have a highly touted guy who's probably going to back him up, who was a top 10 quarterback coming out of the 2020 class this past year. So LSU at Orgeron, look for them to reload. Look for LSU and Alabama to be right at the top of the SEC West. And then you got another SEC team, guys, the Georgia Bulldogs, who have gotten JT Daniels and Jamie Newman to come and transfer to the Bulldogs. And then you also have the loaded backfield with Zamir White and Dalvin Cook's brother James, and also you add in the running back Kendall Milton. You got a bunch of talent coming from the UGA backfield, and then George Pickens, who is going to be one of the best running backs this season. Best wide receivers this season. I think he's going to make a big leap from what he did last year. Last year had almost 900 receptions. 900 yards. Look for him to possibly have 50 or so catches, over 1,000 yards. I wouldn't be surprised if he had over 10 touchdowns. The most hyped-up wide receiver coming out of Georgia since A.J. Green. That's saying a lot. And I've said it before, George Pickens reminds me of Terrell Owens. He really does. He's a physical guy. And them missing him in the SEC championship last year when he got that suspension from Georgia Tech was a huge loss. So Kirby Smart coming in at number 7. They got Notre Dame coming in at number 8. Brian Kelly, Ian Book. Notre Dame has been recruiting great the last 5 years, but they just haven't been able to beat the teams when it really matters the most in these playoff games, and also in some regular season games as well. I think Notre Dame's a little high, as well as A&M. And then he also rounds it out with Oregon, a team who can really I think is the best team in the Pac-12. They can really, really play some ball. Cristobal has those guys ready to play up at Oregon. Look for them to possibly make the playoff out of the Pac-12. I think Oregon has one of the best secondaries in the nation, and if they can replace Justin Herbert at the quarterback position, look for and they also have C.J. Verdell at running back. Look for Oregon to make some noise coming out of the Pac-12, and then it is rounded up by number 10 Penn State and James Franklin, a team that has had Ohio State beat the last 2 years, hasn't been able to do it, but James Franklin has been doing great things. They have a great running back there at Penn State this year. Quarterback's back for another season. Penn State, they're also led on defense by one of the top 5 prospects coming in the next season, linebacker Micah Parsons. Really like his game. You flip on the tape, he shows up right away. And some teams that I think they had rated a little low, and I'm going to begin with the University of Florida. I don't like Dan Mullen and the University of Florida that much. I'm a Florida State fan. I definitely don't like the Gators, but I think they're rated a little low. Phil still had them at 13. I think they're more of like a 8 to 9 type team. I really think that that Florida is going to challenge Georgia until they beat Georgia. Though I'm going to go with the Bulldogs out of the East. Dan Mullen and Florida, until they beat the Bulldogs, I have to see it first. But I think that the University of Florida is going to be very good this year. Not sold on the Kyle Trask Heisman stuff, but I think that Florida will be a top 10 program this year. And if they do play Florida State this year, be a tough game for them. So, Chris, what we got right now? Yeah, Notre Dame had a good recruiting class, but just don't know how the younger guys will adapt to getting more playing time. And I totally agree. It's they've had good recruiting classes the last few years. They just haven't been able to get over the top of teams like Georgia. They lost to them back-to-back years. Also lost to Clemson in the playoff 2 years ago. And, Brian Kelly, he's kind of on the hot seat there at Notre Dame if he doesn't get his team back to a playoff or a national championship. Okay, so 2 teams. The other team, guys, UNC, Mac Brown, they come in at 16th, led by quarterback Sam Howell, who is, if you look at his tape last year, I mean, he was one of the top 5-10 quarterbacks in the entire country as a true freshman. Can really make some plays with his legs, get outside the pocket, has a decent arm. He was once a former FSU commit. They could not hold on to him. And now he's going to be the starter for at least the next 2 years for North Carolina. And if he stays for a senior year, he'll be a 4-year starter. I think they should be a little bit higher. I think they should be in that 12 to 13 range. I think they're the second best team coming out of the ACC this year, and they're going to be a team to watch for. I was really looking forward to that Auburn UNC game, second week of the season. That was really something. First week of the season. That was really something I was looking forward to. Right now, it hasn't been. Right now, it's postponed. I'm not sure. SEC, ACC hasn't really made an announcement on that. And then 2 teams who I think were also rated a little bit too low. Auburn. He had Auburn at 19. Phil still did, and I think Auburn is going to be a surprising little team this year out of the West. I have them 3rd in the West behind Alabama and LSU. Bo Nix is a year older, a year smarter, got a year under his belt. I think he's an athletic quarterback who can also make some plays with his legs, and he's got the really fast receiver, number 5. He's also got Seth Williams, number 18. They bring in Tank Bigsby, the high school running back from Callaway. Look for him to get carries right away. And if Gus Malzahn can get this team ready to play, I think that Auburn could be a sneaky team coming in and sneaking into the top 10 maybe at the end of the season. If they could beat Auburn or LSU, if Auburn can beat Alabama or LSU, they may put themselves in position to get to the SEC championship. And then another team, Mike Gundy, who has been in some hot water and still water this offseason. Not only did he talk Tylan Wallace, the receiver from turning pro, who would have been a top 2 round pick coming in from Oklahoma State. He also talked Chuba Hubbard coming back for another possibly 2,000-yard season. They returned their quarterback who played most of the season last year, missed the last 4 games. He'll only be a sophomore. So they have a lot of offensive firepower. Phil still had them at 24. I think Oklahoma State could easily sneak into that top 10 at some point throughout the year, and if they can beat Oklahoma in the Bedlam matchup, look out for Oklahoma State. Also, there's some great teams that I didn't list that could really make some moves this year. Look for a Florida State team. I'm not saying they're going to make a bunch of noise finish in the top 10, but look for them to win 7 or 8 games if they have a 10-game season, and that'll be a lot of improvement on what they've done in the last couple of years. And Mike Norvell and Marvin Wilson and Tamarion Terry have a lot to say with what the Florida State Seminoles are going to do this year, guys. So, hey, I just want to say thank you so much for anyone who joined in tonight, anyone who commented, anyone who liked us, guys. Please share this content out. Let more people see it. Follow me on Twitter at Kick It With Crow, guys. And I am here every Wednesday at 9 o'clock unless something happens. I'm coming back off of vacation, so I was nice and refreshed this week. And I really, really enjoyed all your guys' comments and everybody for joining. I really appreciate it, guys. Do not forget to follow my page, Kicking It With Crowder. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well, guys. So I am out. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I am Kicking It With Crowder. And thank you guys so much for kicking it, guys. I am out. Until next time, let's go.